an artist needs a manager, and what are the conflicts between an artist and a manager?
You know, an artist needs a manager pretty much from day one in their professional career, but they can't expect to go top of the management, I guess, priority list until such time as they're in the frame to make records, make the right move in their career, and it's not based on finance, it's based on the fact that are you now developed. So if you go to a good manager who's prepared to develop you and work with artists in a development stage, that's very important. But you also have to be very patient. A lot of artists, when they sign management deals, think, here it is, we're off and running, the manager's going to, as I said earlier, turn this into a massive deal and we're magicians. That's not the correct time for an artist to get excited. The time to come into a manager is at that point where you have something worth developing, and if an artist is going to be patient and a manager is prepared to develop it, then artists should open their arms and embrace that, as opposed to thinking, no, the manager's got to get me a record deal. You've got to be good enough to get a record deal, but more importantly, you need to be good enough to sell records. And so many artists have the potential, but want it to happen overnight. And I guess a lot of that's due to, you know, TV programs that produce overnight stars. But the truth is, if we're going back to real music and creating careers, development is incredibly important. And this is the time where the clock's not on. When you can pick up an artist early and develop them early and have them in a patient frame of mind as opposed to got to do it, we can create good things with artists. But the truth is, most artists want it very, very quickly. You know, they're not used to this period of I guess, learning and developing. They want it too quickly, and it doesn't matter how good we are as managers, it is down to the product. Whether I can pick the phone up and make a deal for an artist is almost irrelevant, because at some point you have to go to radio, they have to play it, you have to go to TV, you know, they've got to put you on television, and then you've got to, you know, have the consumer judge you. And if it's not good enough at that point, that's your one shot, gone. And I believe that you have to get it right. And as a manager, as a professional manager, I'm not prepared to do any of the steps of doing deals, going to TV, going to radio until it's right. So patience is a very important virtue. And as far as conflict, I don't believe there's a conflict unless an artist doesn't agree with that time and that, you know, has the patience. Well, then you're going to have a conflict that they want to go and do a record deal earlier. Manager may not be able to, manager may not want to. So at that stage, that's what you're gonna, you know, different stages of the career, you're gonna have different discussions. At that stage, that's what your conflict's gonna be. Later on down the line, you may be overworking an artist. You know, they may feel that they're doing too many breakfast radio shows and too many early morning TV shows and getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But, you know, I just say to artists, it's really simple. It's when you're not doing those that you want to worry, not when you're doing it. When you're getting up at 5 in the morning, smile to yourself and say, thank the Lord, someone wants me. People want to have, and those are the biggest viewer shows, breakfast shows. You know, biggest viewers, biggest listeners, those are the ones you want to be on. And then later down the line, you know, clearly what causes a lot of conflict, a lot of problems, are financial arguments. So as a management business, we don't really, one thing I'll never argue over is money. Money goes to their accountants, our money comes to us. So the one thing that I can clearly say I'm never going to argue with an artist about is money. That's in the contract, that's put away, we know how much we charge for our services, we know what they've got to pay, we know what they've got to do, they know what we've got to do. Lawyers and accountants, you deal with that, guys. I'll argue with any of my clients until I'm blue in the face, but it will be about a creative thing, and it will be about the reasoning behind doing certain things. Okay, and it will be in conjunction with them. And I'm not looking to be managed by an artist, but then I'm not looking to be an artist either.
How important do you feel, like we spoke before, how important is radio actually, and is it possible for an artist to have a hit, have a high-selling album without a hit record on the radio?
Look, radio makes hits, okay? Banks make billionaires. It's that simple. Without radio, you're not having a hit. Virtually end of discussion. There's always going to be people who go, hang on a second, there was that record that got played in the clubs, da, 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 da. Of course, you know, but we're not talking about the minority. We are generalising, and in general terms, without radio, you are not having a hit. Done. General comment, general fact. You know, yes, there's isolated examples of hits coming from all different areas. And remember, we are putting aside TV talent shows here because that is based on TV exposure. So just in the general terms, without radio, you're fucked. Record companies, let's not forget, were the people that were responsible for the invention of new technology, but didn't really invest in protecting it. So they took the big bonuses out in the 70s and 80s instead of reinvesting it in the business of protecting the technology. But ultimately, it's technology that got us into this mess, and it is technology that will get us out of this mess eventually.